Good evening. Time to get started. I'd like to welcome Illinois head coach Shauna Green, student athletes Kendall Bostick and Jada Peebles. Coach, would you like to start with an opening statement, please?
You know, that obviously we came here to compete and win the game, but could not be more proud of these guys and this team, you know, for fighting, competing, had a great first half, you know, really did what we wanted to do. And then the second half, that third quarter, just really, it really was a difference in the game. And then the rebounding, I knew the rebounding was going to be key. We were down only 4 on the boards in the first half, and that's why the game was, you know, we're down 1. And then they kind of just took off some turnovers and then led to some easy layups, gave them momentum, and we couldn't score in the third either. So, you know, 8 points, you're not going to win in an NCAA tournament, or really anyone if you only score 8 points. So, and then, you know, the rebounding separation was just too much, and there was multiple possessions where they got 2 and even sometimes 3 boards, and you just can't do that. But again, so proud of our fight. There was a time where, you know, we could have given up at the end, and we just kept battling, kept competing, kept fighting. You know, I really knew we had to shoot it better, and we were 4 for 20. That would have helped a lot, just kind of alleviate some of, you know, where we're not always having to attack. If we can get some inside out and get some threes, and they just weren't falling for us tonight. So just one of those games, credit Mississippi State, you know, but doesn't take away anything that we did this season. We had an absolutely amazing season and got somewhere that no one you're lying if anyone in here said we'd be here. So just really, really happy for these guys to be able to experience this, and now we're going to learn from it, and we're going to use this as motivation coming back, because we have pretty much our entire team coming back besides Gio, and we are going to learn from this and use this as we go into next season.
Thank you, Coach. If you'd like to ask a question, please raise your hand, state your name and affiliation, and we'll get a microphone to you. Questions for the student athletes, please?
Hi, Anderson Kimball here on review for both of you, Kendall and Jada. After experiencing this for the first time, what can you guys learn and kind of maybe take this into the future?
I think, you know, overall, just kind of playing in this environment, you know, the NCAA tournaments is different than most other games. There's a different kind of like pressure with it. So I think just being here and kind of feeling the game out, feeling the atmosphere out, I really think like this group will take that next year and we'll know what it feels like. So we'll be a little bit more comfortable, but there's, you know, plenty of things to learn from this game basketball wise and just being here.
I feel like it was just the level of like fight and intensity for 40 minutes, playing a different team off another conference. I just think it's a different level of fight, and you just got to come every single play. And like I said, the third quarter just really did us, but it's just a different level of intensity when you are on that court.
Matt Stevens, Illinois, guys. Kendall, can you walk us through what's going on with your right leg and how much treatment and what you needed to do to even get on the floor tonight?
So it was just kind of just injured in practice last week, and I've been with, you know, Autumn, our trainer, like 2 and 3 times a day for hours at a time, just trying to get it back to normal. But obviously that didn't really happen, just with us getting kind of an earlier game than expected. So, you know, just trying to work through it and just trying to do the best I can. Got a lot of stuff on it right now. So, but yeah, it's just been a lot of treatment and a lot of just kind of PT stuff.
Joey Wagner with the Line 9 Carter. I guess for both of you, Jada, if you could start. I know what you're saying, but how could you put a bow, I guess, on what this season was for you guys and maybe what it meant to you personally, having been to this point?
It means everything just to be to this point. I mean, we just talked about it in the locker room. Like, no one would have thought that we would have been at this point at the beginning of the season, because the first practice obviously wasn't too hot, but it was just so surreal going through the season, just how we were so together from like the start of it, and just how we all came together throughout the season, and then went through all these ebbs and flows, all these ups and downs. Like, we just really fought through every single moment and every adversity together.
Yeah, just kind of going off that, like just as fast as we gelled, I you know, playing this being pretty much my third new team, I was pretty surprised with how fast we gelled, and I think that really kind of propelled us initially, and then we were able to really, you know, build off of that through the season as we learned each other a little bit more, learned the system a little bit more. And like Jada said, that first practice was atrocious, but it's just crazy to see kind of the growth from, venting out, and it'll be great because this summer we won't have to spend, all our practices working on just the basic fundamentals of basketball. Like, we can really kind of, pick and choose what we work on, like kind of critique some of our games and stuff. So I think, just kind of being here and being able to do this is great.
Kendall, especially with what you were dealing with injury-wise, just how much of a challenge was their post player for Mississippi State going into the game, and what you kind of see from her?
I think if I would have been healthy, it would have been a different game. I definitely think I could have, banged around with her a little bit more, brought a little more offensive game to it. But, it's just hard just to it hurts to really plant my foot, so it's kind of hard to make slides, especially with her being so big. But, she's a great player. She had really good, touch around the rim. She rebounds really well. So, I think it would have been a different game. But obviously, like, Gio did a really good job on her, being able to kind of, be physical with her, alter some of her shots, get really good rebounds. So I was really proud of Gio for being able to go in and just kind of compete with her. But I definitely think it would have been a different ball game if we all kind of, the bigs would have been healthy.
Kendall, Jada, how do you guys think that a season like this can help build the program and build the culture around this team in the future seasons to come?
I definitely think it just really shocked everybody, and it just shocked recruits coming in as well. Mm-hmm. And just seeing how we change the culture ourselves with just being in this culture for only a year, I just think that it's only up from here. And we made a huge impact on a year, so there's just so much to look back on.
Yeah, I think it was great to play in, but I know it's crazy from the outside. But just being able to be in this season and playing in this season has been really great. So I know for recruits and stuff, and for our fans that traveled here, it's got to be really cool just from the outside looking in. So I think it'll be really, really good for the future. And knowing this program is only going up, I mean, that's got to make people excited.
Any more questions for the students? Okay. Thanks. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
And now we can take questions for the coach.
Yes, Shauna, just now knowing what we know that Kendall was dealing with, I mean, what was the week for you like, just maybe with that in the back of your mind, and then to see her go out there and just try to give something?
Do you really want to know? No, just kidding. I mean, just talk about the worst timing of having, an injury, but it's life and it's basketball. That's why I'm so proud of both her and Bryn. I mean, Bryn hasn't practiced in 2 weeks, and hasn't literally ran up and down the floor, but we don't have the numbers, and against these guys, we really couldn't go too much, we couldn't go small that much when they went big. So it wasn't a great matchup when knowing the injuries we had. And then with Kendall does so much for us. I mean, you guys know that. She does so much. And literally the doctor, explained it to me last night just from it's one thing she's tough and she toughed through it, but just from the muscle standpoint, it can't, react and explode the way that she needed it to. But I mean, and I thought it would be if we had zero scoring inside. I mean, I couldn't even really call. So you guys have seen us play. Normally I'm calling stuff, getting the ball inside. I would have, tried to ISO her a little bit and brought her out, and then have KB rip and go and drive and try to get her into more foul trouble. So it kind of limited our playbook, and then put way more pressure on our guards. And then Bryn's not back offensively. When you haven't played in 2 weeks, you're not going to really have the rhythm. So I thought she did a pretty decent job defensively and rebounding, but she just didn't get the shots that she normally gets. So yeah, it was obviously, I mean, no excuses, but it is what it is. They're major pieces to our team, and it's just unfortunate that KB was not 100% tonight.
Andy Olson, WCIA TV. You mentioned the third quarter already. Was there something different that Mississippi State did coming out of the break that messed with your guys' flow on that side of the court?
No, I mean, I thought they pounded it in a couple times more. They went into Carter more, off just initial action, where they weren't doing that before. They were running more of their chin action and keeping her high. And she scored. She had 10 at half, and I thought we did a really good job at her. Now, they did a good job in the second half. They probably also saw that KB might have been a little limited and said, hey, we're going to go inside and test her. And so credit them, and they pounded it in. She got a few easy ones. And then I just thought we had, 2 or 3 turnovers to start the half, and I thought that was total momentum changer. It just – the confidence kind of comes out of you, and they were able to get layups out of it. So I thought that was really a swing. They pounded it in. We had a couple turnovers, but there was the same pressure as it was in the first half.
Sean, there's a lot of talk about Mississippi State's size, obviously, in the paint, but how much of their length really bothered Jen tonight and what she wanted to do offensively?
I don't know. I don't know if it, we've seen and faced, long teams in the Big Ten that guard really well. I thought Jen got some open looks. They just didn't go in either, And then, she got a couple deflected, but I told her I didn't care. I wanted her to shoot those. We got to the rim at times. We missed some easy bunnies in the first half, but we were right there. So, some of those wide open threes, again, if we hit a couple, I think it gives us more life. I don't know how much it affected her. I think we've seen it before. And their guards aren't overly long. They're similar to us. I know they may put them taller on the roster, but I didn't think it affected her that much.
So returning to core you're returning, what do you think you guys can build off this and accomplish next year and the next 2 years?
That's the one thing that's a great feeling, is knowing as, you have pretty much your same team coming back. And obviously with only one senior. So that's huge. And I told them, if we can keep this core together and add pieces, around it, we need more depth. We need some more size. You guys know that. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. And it's just like the sky's the limit. I truly believe we got here. And again, there was times tonight we had 3 healthy people on the floor. And we still had opportunities. So with what they've learned, the journey that we've been on, the growth we've made, it's one thing I know last year, and KB was right. She said, last summer it was about, I'm teaching them, how the footwork I want them to shoot. I'm teaching them layups. I'm teaching them how we pass. I'm teaching them terminology. We're trying to grow as a unit just in getting to know each other. Where now I have a crystal clear vision of what we need to get better at. And believe me, we're going to work on it every single day. Some of the things that have been, the things that are glaring, and we're going to attack those, and we're going to be better for it. So it helps me, because I know now, and I know what each of these guys needs to improve on. I know what we need to improve on collectively. And that knowledge is power, and we're going to attack those relentlessly in the off season.
Joe Vazzelli from the News Gazette. Just the first half from Makira, what she was able to do there, what you kind of see from her, and what kind of maybe made the difference for her in the second half be not as effective, I guess?
Well, because she plays 40 minutes every game, and I think she just gets worn down. And in that, it hurt when Jen got those fouls, because if you notice, Makira then had it, because Makira will let Jen take the ball up sometimes, and in that she can get a little bit of a breather. When Jen went out and she had to play, and this team too, it's not like she's just walking it up there and no one's around her. They're up pressuring her. They're harassing her up there. So everything, and then we have her guarding their best player, and then she has to score for us. And again, because we're not really able to score inside when we really don't have a healthy post player, so I'm asking her to do a lot. And I think Jen being out, and she had to have the ball in her hand. She had to do this. She had to do that. I thought she wore down a little bit. I really do. But I'll tell you one thing. She fought like crazy. She was the one leading. She's the one talking in the huddle. She's the one telling everyone, that to not give up, to continue to fight. So I could not be more proud of her. Yeah, the shots didn't fall, some of those in the second half. But if she was short on everything. So that's, again, where we need depth. Because even a minute break, even 1 little minute break could give them that. I don't know if they had a kid that played 40 minutes. I didn't look at it that closely, but they got a lot of players they can mix in.
We have time for 2 more questions, please.
Just thinking about Gio, her decision to come back and use a 5th year. She's one of the team captains, played big minutes in the second half. pretty emotional coming off the court. Just what has she meant to this program this year, and maybe in what ways does she contribute both on and off the court?
Yeah, just her positivity and the vibes that surround her. I said I'm gonna miss her because every day she makes me smile, she makes me laugh. She's just a really good person, and what makes me happy the most about Gio is that she really appreciated this year. Like, she really soaked it in, and she was present, and she could have, she wasn't playing a ton of minutes. She could have given up or, had a bad, like, she was the most positive, the loudest every day. And I think you saw what it means to her by her emotion coming off the floor. And we're going to miss her. We're going to miss her every single day. And I'm happy that she got to experience this year.
I know you've been on this team defensively all year, but was that second quarter kind of a true reflection of what you've kind of wanted to see, which is, 10 minutes where they didn't let their offense dictate the defensive end of the floor?
Yeah, I thought the whole first half, I really thought we guarded. I mean, there were some slides, and no one could get by us. We're helping in, 5 people guarding the ball. We're flying around. It was very solid, very disciplined, right on with the scout. We let 23 get those 2 threes. That was the only thing that we didn't do a good job of in terms of following a scout, because we know she's a shooter. But otherwise, I was really, really happy with how we guarded. And now, how can we gotta now get to the level where that we're able to guard like that for 40 minutes? Because I said there were some really pretty plays out there when we were making some slides, and we were finally doing what I wanted them to do with pulling in and everyone guarding the ball. And then we just got to continue to try to finish plays with box outs. But again, we did a decent job of that in the first half.
And that's all we have time for this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.